All right, everybody, how's it going? Sorry this video is going up a little late. I wanted to see how the other late games ended, but basically, all that needs to be said about today's game against the Jaguars is the Seahawks took care of business, and they did so emphatically and definitively, and they left no doubt on which team was better. 31-7, and two of those touchdowns, one by the Seahawks, one by the Jaguars, were after the game was well decided. Didn't even really, not real football at that point. You can't put that in real football terms. So yeah, it was a good game. I know that saying that you're better than a team like the Jaguars doesn't really mean anything because they're not good. In fact, they are awful. They are a clear tier below a team like the Seahawks, as mediocre at best as we might be. But we looked good today. We genuinely looked good today. We did some things well. We executed in all phases, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy for the way the offense looked in terms of their execution, but also their planning. I liked the way they planned for this game. I liked the plays they ran. I liked the focus. I liked a lot of things I saw on the offense, and I'm not just talking about the points. 24 points on offense today. It was nice. That's cool and all, but I'm talking about more than just that. I liked the game plan. I liked the way we approached this game, and I'm satisfied with that side of the ball. The defense, great game. They basically pitched a shutout again. That last touchdown, I can't put that in real football terms. Like, game's long over. It's basically a shutout. I'm gonna. It feels like a shutout to me, even if it's technically not one. Granted, Jacksonville did lose their best offensive player pretty early on, and that kind of left them with very few decent options, but great game by them. Pass rush was clicking. Run defense came to play after Robinson left, which isn't a huge vote of confidence in them, but they played well. I thought the secondary played well, and hey, we even made big plays on special teams. And I know that, and I see it in my server. I see it. I already know what's going to happen in the comments. I know there are some glass half empty people out there right now who were looking at this game as an opportunity to get Carroll out of here, and they're maybe even a little sad that that's not going to happen. But I needed to feel something today. I needed to feel good today, and I do. So, first, I'm happy for Geno Smith. Is he good? No. Do I wish we had a better backup? Sure, I guess. I don't think there are a ton of backups out there who were better. And as this game went on, he started taking some dumb sacks, some drive-killing sacks that just... we get mad at Wilson for taking stupid sacks sometimes. Maybe I get more mad about that than a lot of people do. But that dude, I thought he was going to go in there and show Wilson how it's done in that regard, and he's really not. 13 sacks in 3 games. But he played a great game today. He nearly went into halftime perfect. He nearly pitched the perfect half. And it wasn't just short stuff and checkdowns and dump-offs. In fact, there was practically none of that. He was hitting Metcalf and Lockett over and over again. Lockett had a monster day. Metcalf had a great game. He was doing some of the stuff that I didn't think he was going to be able to do so well. That first half, you really could have mistaken him for Russell Wilson at points because he was fitting it into tight windows down the field, and he was utilizing his receivers heavily. As much as we talked about how Geno was going to utilize his tight ends and backs a lot, never really manifested itself. And on today, which today was clearly his best game of the season, he just went to the Lockett well over and over and over again, and then started hitting DK in the red zone, and you could have mistaken this for a Russell Wilson game in many ways, right down to the unfortunate sacks. But he played well, and I'm happy for him. Not because I think he's great, not because I think you guys hate on him too much, but he did his job. And honestly, I feel like for the most part, since he had to take over the starting role, he has done his job. As a Seahawk quarterback this last month, he hasn't won a lot of games, obviously. There hasn't been a ton of success, but I felt like he is doing what we need him to do. So I'm happy for Geno. That was the main takeaway for me from this game. Happy for Lockett because he's been quiet lately. 12 catches. I think he had like 10 in the first half. The second half, we kind of went into Operation Shutdown, honestly. We kind of really turtled up in that second half other than one drive in the third quarter. DK, 2 touchdowns. He's on track to have a monstrous season in terms of touchdown receptions, which is awesome because that's something that he kind of sort of needed to improve on after the first two weeks. First 2 years of his career. So it looks like he might have one of those monster 15 touchdown seasons, which I know is exciting. The runs up the gut to Penny gotta go. The jet sweeps to Gerald Everett gotta go. Like, what in the world is that? But I'm gonna say this: I really like the way the game was called today on offense. I think the Waldron stuff is starting to settle in. We're seeing things that I just never really saw under Schottenheimer or Bevel. Some of those quick passes, those quick snap passes to Lockett at the line of scrimmage, where it doesn't really look like a bubble screen, but it kind of has the effect of a bubble screen, except things start moving a lot quicker. Lockett had a couple of those today, and they were productive. There were some other passes near the line of scrimmage that I feel like that's the Shane Waldron effect. And there are some things about the Shane Waldron effect that I don't appreciate, like, for instance, the aforementioned jet sweep to a tight end, which maybe that stuff worked in LA, but it doesn't work here. But I did see some stuff from the way we game plan today. It was a game plan that incorporated some of the new stuff that we were hoping to have this year, while also feeding the ball to your 2 best players, who are Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf on offense right now. So I liked that. I like the fact that we allowed Geno to get into a rhythm. There were long stretches of this game where we basically abandoned the run. And Jacksonville was playing the run pretty well, honestly. I think that was probably a smart decision given the way Jacksonville was playing the run. They held Collins in check. Then they didn't let Homer get anything. Rashad Penny, 7 carries, 7 yards. Although that had more to do with probably us trying to run him in at the goal line. Like, come on. Rashad Penny's not a goal line back. Why are you plowing him up the middle over and over again? Whatever. But we let Geno really get into a rhythm here, just dropping back and finding a lot of quick passes. And then as the game went on, he started hitting some stuff down the field. And I think that was something that we could have really used in the first 2 starts for Geno. Felt like, especially in that Saints game, we just kind of got married to the run. We felt like the best way to protect Geno would be to just limit his attempts. But if today was any evidence, and I understand the Jacksonville defense is pretty trash, and they mostly played like it today, but getting him into a rhythm and letting him just complete a lot of quick throws in rapid succession, that felt like a good way to protect Geno. Other than that, offensive line was it was okay, I guess, especially early. Later in the game, they started giving up some stuff. Dwayne Brown got olayed once or twice, but their occasionally shoddy pass rush did allow a couple of roughing the passer calls on Geno to happen. So I don't know if that's the plan, but it is the result, and that was cool. That was nice. So yeah, I'm satisfied in a vacuum. I'm not satisfied with the way this season is going by no stretch, but in this game, I'm satisfied with what we got. I think we played well. I think we planned well, and you get a pretty satisfying game. Defensively, a lot of Jacksonville's yards. I know Jacksonville had like probably 300 plus yards in this game. A lot of those yards came on their last 2 drives when the game was long over, when this game was in doubt. James Robinson started the game hot. He made some nice plays in the running game and the passing game, and then he got hurt, and then it was just Jacksonville didn't do anything for probably a 30-minute stretch from the end of the first towards the end of the third. So we got a turnover, Quandre Diggs. Probably not going to mean too much to us other than increasing his contract value next year, but I don't think Quandre is going to be here next year anyway, so good for Quandre. I'm rooting for you. Go get paid somewhere else. I don't think it can be here, but I like Quandre. I appreciate what he's done since he got here, so you go get that paycheck next year, buddy. We got a ton of pressure on Lawrence, and I am sad that game only ended in 1 sack because we were getting pressure on Lawrence constantly. Lawrence had a bad game in general, honestly. His offensive line had a bad game. Receivers had a bad game. They couldn't drop. They couldn't catch. They dropped several passes. Pretty much all the success he had was just these little checkdowns and dump offs towards Dan Arnold and Carlos Hyde. But there was constant pressure on him. Darrell Taylor had an awesome game. Dunlap made plays. Robert Nkemdiche was very disruptive in that game, which that's a sight for sore eyes because we got all that off-season training camp hype around him, and I wanted to believe it was going to eventually manifest itself into something of substance. It did. Ryan Neal on the blitz. We got to go back to that one in a future game because Ryan Neal on the blitz was working. That was doing work. He got a sack. He had other QB pressures. Bobby Wagner got boned out of a sack by a penalty on Ugo Amadi, which that's not the first time Ugo's done that this year, so screw you. I don't know. Ugo didn't play a terrible game or anything, but not happy with that. That screwed Wagner out of a sack. I get it. Like, Jacksonville losing James Robinson really took all the teeth out of that offense, and at that point, celebrating what you do on defense against this offense, it kind of feels like that meme with the guy who gets the bronze medal, and then he's like spraying champagne everywhere, and then it cuts to the dudes who won the gold and silver medal looking at him like, what's up with this dude? But they still played a good game, and a lot of people are saying that they're back. The defense finally figured it out. The defense is going to get on a roll for the last 9 games of the season. I'll believe it when I see it against these next 2 opponents, which are going to pose a much more difficult challenge, but I can honestly say they played a pretty effective game today, and if they build on this, then maybe it's possible, right? So, all this being said, not to put a damper on anything that happened today, because I am happy and I am satisfied, and I do think they genuinely played well out there today. That Jacksonville team is doing everything they can to hand victories to the other team. They had like 12 penalties, 2 roughing the passer. They had almost back-to-back 12 men in the huddle penalties on defense. Lots of holding calls that took away what would have otherwise been positive plays for them. They just did everything wrong, man. Like I said, even when Lawrence was able to make a good throw, receivers were dropping it. Lawrence made a lot of bad throws. They were slipping and sliding on the turf a little bit, which was weird because the turf looked like it was in good shape to me. It's a completely dysfunctional team. Like I said in my pregame video, they make us look like a healthy, normal organization. And today they did. They made us look good again. They made us look like things are good and normal and happy here. They're not, but we got to pretend that they are for 1 week. And as for the future, look, we are 1 game back of the 7th seed, and a lot of people are talking about that. I'm not going to go there. I'm just not going to go there right now, guys. I'm not really believing the schedule in the second half of the season is just a little too hard. We needed to close out Tennessee. We needed to find a way to win one of these last 3 games that we lost. If we had done one of those things, one of those 4 things, squeak out a win in Pittsburgh, squeak out a win against New Orleans, squeak out an LA win, or hold on against Tennessee. And if we were 4-4 right now, I'd be feeling a little differently. I could say, well, I can see it. We have a little margin for error. I got to be honest, I'm still not there. I am happy that they actually looked like a competent, well-run, well-put-together organization for 3 hours today, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it, right? I mean, whether or not I believe it can happen, we're still going to play the games. So I'm going to take this win, be really happy about it. Oh, special teams. We won the special teams battle. Travis Homer made a big play on special teams. I thought our coverage was good. DJ Dallas had 1 decent kick return, which one of 2 times the Jaguars actually kicked off today. Yeah. Just a good game. Nothing to, dunk on anybody over, but we did look good. For 3 hours, we looked good, and it's been a while since we looked good. We barely committed any penalties today. We looked like the smarter team today. We looked like the better run organization today. All right, I'll see you guys in stream for the second half of Sunday Night Football. We'll talk about this game. We'll talk about the Sunday night game. We'll talk about the rest of the league. But see you guys then. Peace out. Go Hawks. It's a win, man. Cherish it.